Salutations, everyone. Salutations. I'm full right now. I just had a little something to eat. I just got my hair done. Shout out to Showbiz. And I went over to this place that I like to go to from time to time. It's called which is WHICH which sandwich. Get it? So I got normally when I go there I get like a black bean wrap, spinach wrap with black bean patty inside with avocado, lettuce, tomato. Very simple. But you could have other toppings if you want, but that's just my usual order. Well, not usual because I don't go there that often. But anywho, I just thought I'd just come over real quickly, see how everybody's doing. I'm just shooting the breeze. I'm in Midtown, got nothing else better to do. So I said, why not wander? Why not just, just come and just kind of enjoy the weather and just kind of wander through the streets of Atlanta. But how's everyone doing though? Happy Juneteenth for those who celebrate Juneteenth. I know people have their historical, they have their own historical reasons as to why, whether they do or do not celebrate. So I'm not going to touch that one. But I just want to just kind of, use this time to reflect on the overall, culture dynamic. So I'm gonna keep it there. But so I wanna get y'all into this show on Netflix. I'm minding my bald-headed business, right? I'm at work, because normally, I work remotely, and so I am able to, when I work, and this is how I work, this is how I function. I do very well. I got my personal computer that I use for entertainment purposes. So, so I have, that screen, and then I have my laptop that I use for work. But of course, when I'm making phone calls, of course, whatever I'm watching or whatever I got going on is muted, right? So I know how to, how to work, how to function the way you need to function. But I gotta have like a mixture of some work stuff and fun stuff, to entertain me while I work. I work best that way. Don't judge me. I work best that way. It's been working with me, and I've been at this job for almost 10 years, so leave me alone. But anywho, so like when I'm working, I watch, I try to find a nice, good program to watch, whether it's, something on YouTube, something to do with, spirituality, or, something to do with like, even if I watch my old sitcoms or reruns or whatever it is. But I happen to go on Netflix, right? And Netflix, when you go on the website initially, they give you a trailer of a trending show or movie. And so I'm looking at this trailer of this show called The Polygamist. And so I'm like, this seems pretty interesting because, of course, it's like polygamy is, it's not going anywhere, and it's been around for ages. So we're not going to act like we're new to this thing, but it's not something that I don't dive into because that's not in alignment of the way I choose to live my life. But I respect those who decide to do that. If that's something that everyone has agreed upon, if all parties are agreed to do it and to acquire that lifestyle, that's on them. But if you're acquiring a lifestyle to please someone else, to maintain a relationship, or you think that's going to make your relationship work, then that's something that you're definitely going to have to reevaluate, right? But this show, The Polygamist, and boy, I didn't have no idea how popular and how trending the show is, because once I started binge watching it, I've been getting posts on my Instagram feed, because you know how it is, when the internet, they track what you do, obviously, because I didn't start getting anything. I didn't start getting any posts related to this series until I watched it. And so I'm getting all these, but then going back to Netflix. So I'm watching this, and I'm watching this series, and I don't, like I said, I'm contemplating on whether or not I should review it. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna give you a premise of it if I can. I'm gonna try my best, you guys, to go over this, because you have to give me some time to kind of put all the family members together so you can understand who's who. But I just prefer for you to watch the actual series so you can really truly know. But the premise of the series is this one man, this one ET looking dude, that that has been like a true narcissistic, demonic dude. I mean, I don't think this dude has a soul. I mean, this dude here, if you're going to watch this show and watch this dude, and I know there's a lot of cruel people out here, I know there's a lot of crazy people out here, but this dude, the way he treats other people and the way they got hit, the way that he got them wrapped around his finger, it's like that spirit of Beelzebub. I'm like, oh my God, I mean, if I had some pearls, you got to clutch them. I need a cross, some holy water, because this dude is, ooh. But yes, but he had, like, it starts off like him, well, the show, okay, I'm going to give you a backstory, but it's not the actual continuity of the series, but I'm going to give you some backstory to make it all make sense, because it, so it could go full circle for you, okay? So this dude, when you look more into the series, you kind of get more of they give you flashback sequences. And part in the background noise, please. Part in the background noise. On my side. And it gives you a little bit of a backstory of how he was protected by his first wife. He and his second wife. They eventually married, but they known each other since like high school, and he was being bullied. He was like he was bullied by some thugs, and the second wife, her name is Essie, rescued him, and they became friends. They became they were like best friends at first, and he went off to college, and I guess they did the whole long distance thing, not knowing that later on, years later, because once he went away, he just stopped communicating with Essie. And I think like 8 years went by, he stopped communicating with her. So in the meantime, she had a son named Freedom, and he ended up getting married without Essie's knowledge. So he ended up getting married to Joyce. Joyce is his first wife, technically his first wife, because that's who he married first, when he went away. And so somehow, some way, there was some overlapping involved, because once he came back to their village and he met up with Essie again, he didn't know, Essie was not aware that he was married until she read the papers. And so once he came back into town, and of course, at the time, Joyce did not know about Essie. And so somehow, some way, this dude, his name is Jonas, by the way. The protagonist on in this series, name is Jonas. I'm trying, you guys. Jonas started reconnecting with Essie, while Joyce was just clueless about everything. They even got to the point where he and Essie got back together. He got her pregnant. Got Essie pregnant. They was at the baby shop one time, and Joyce met up, and I, like I said, Joyce had no idea that that he and Essie were a thing. And like I said, I'm just trying to think of how was it that Joyce. It was some time in between when he married Joyce, and then he reconnected with Essie, because he married Essie second, and that's when he got her pregnant with their child. Their child name is Sarah. Jonas and Essie's child, his name is Sarah. And so Sarah was kept a secret. Joyce, they didn't know till years later that Sarah was actually Jonas's daughter, because for many years, in order to keep that secret, it was believed that Sarah was the daughter of Jonas's brother, please forgive me, I cannot remember his character's name, Mackenzie or something like that. Um, so it was believed, to cover up, because his brother always cover up for him, so he agreed to make everyone believe that Sarah was her daughter, to keep that a secret. But that didn't stop Essie from still enabling him and still reconnected with him. Joyce was still in the picture, and Essie, Sarah, and Freedom. They still remained in their village. They was on the side. They was in the back burner, and he continued his marriage with Joyce. He and Joyce were married 20 years, and they had 2 children together, Minzy and a daughter, beautiful daughter, and I don't remember her name. I'm sorry, and I'm not good with these names. I mean, and also the African names. Please forgive me, but I'm not good with the names. But they had 2 children together, and I'm trying to see, where do I pick up from there. They live their lives, they have this lavish lifestyle, Jonas has this, prominent career and all that good stuff. Was he a lawyer? I think, was Jonas a lawyer? I believe he's a lawyer. Yeah, it was a high price. I think he was a high-powered attorney, I believe. Don't quote me, but I think that's what it was. But whatever it was he was doing, it acquired a lifestyle that trap these women, because you know how it is sometimes when you stay in certain situations. A lot of the times they are accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle, and it's not always about love, but let them, let these people tell it. But anyway, after a while, it also, like, the series starts off with Joyce informing Jonas that they still need to celebrate. They still need to be in attendance for their 20th wedding anniversary party, even though they're supposed to have been separated for a year at this point. They're supposed to have been separated, in the process of divorce. But but to keep up with appearances, because Joyce was all about image. Joyce was all about appearances. And because Joyce also had she was also an influencer as well, so she wanted to keep an image of this family unit, this family dynamic, and this solid marriage that was far from the truth. And so, she coerced Jonas into going to this anniversary party to keep up appearances. Meanwhile, he already moved in with his side chick, Matipa, and so that was a whole nother mess. She was, already with the side chick, claiming that they are so happy, and he's moved on with his life, and and everything's supposed to just go smooth sailing from there. But no, it does not. And Matipa, is, talking smack, like, like most side chicks do when they don't have no boundaries. And side chicks, nowadays they feel like they're free to just pop off at any given moment, knowing that they are the side chick, and they know they're no different, they're no special than anybody else. And so Matipa was one of those side chicks that thought that whatever was happening to Joyce and all these other women was not going to happen to her. Like, she was the special one. She was the chosen one. But no. But like I said, when you get that, when you watch the series, you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, this dude was just sticking and moving left and right, and I gotta tell you, they have some pretty good sex scenes. By the way, I'm gonna let y'all know. There's some pretty good sex. I love me a good. Excuse me, everyone. Pardon me. I love a good sex scene. Nice sensual. I love a good sex scene. Very sensual, very well choreographed. Okay. But anywho, so the show goes on, and the dynamic between the children, Jonas's children, and mind you, he had, all these children in between. Like, he had Sarah with Essie, he had Minzy and another daughter with Joyce, and then when Joyce, just when you thought that Joyce, because at one point Joyce and Jonas decided to reconcile. There was ready to work their marriage out. So Jonas moved back into the home. They were so happy-go-lucky. Like I said, based on appearances, they seem to be so happy-go-lucky. And they were together, but they made their way to the hospital somehow. So for some reason, Joyce and her mother had to go to the hospital for some reason, and the doctor was kind of messy, by the way, because the family's name is oh my God, what's the family's name? The last name, Gamora. The family name is Gamora. So he was saying something about Gamora. It was a Gamora family in the next room, or whatever. And normally, I don't know if that's supposed to be violating some HIPAA law or something like that, because you're not supposed to, provide certain type of information on the patient. But he says something about a Gamora being in the hospital as well. And so when Joyce and her mother made their way to one of the hospital rooms, lo and behold, Jonas is standing there with twin girls from Matipa. So come to find out, they still was bumping uglies together. They were still together, still seeing each other on the side. And so when Joyce found out, of course, she was pissed off. She wanted to just, knock his head off and just throwing everything around. And so Jonas was lying to Joyce's face, making it seem like, I was in a vulnerable space. I was in a vulnerable place, and Matiba took advantage of him and all this other stuff. And that was far from the truth, because if you look at, because they give you flashback sequences of what really happened. And what really happened was when he found out that Matipa was pregnant with twins, he was happy-go-lucky. He was like, I'm going to break dance. He was thrilled to have those twins. But of course, he lied to Joyce's face, like, we're not, it was, I didn't mean to do it. I made a mistake and all this other stuff. So now he has all these additional children with all these women, not counting, any other woman in between. And also, he started messing with one of Joyce and Jonas' daughter. She had a best friend. Her name is Lindani. So mind you, these kids are, I would think, like Lindani and Joyce and Jonas' daughter, they gotta be about 18 or 19 at the time of this is happening, but that didn't stop Jonas from messing with her as well. At some point, they started messing with each other, and Jonas didn't even care that his son Menzi was always in love with Lindani, and Lindani, had a boyfriend at the time, and but he was still Menzi was still in love with Lindani, and when Menzi found out that Lindani was messing with Jonas, I don't know if he had a heart attack or a panic attack, but it really, really just took him aback, because he saw, like, he just happened to be in the club one time, and Lindani was in one of those rooms performing fellatio on his daddy. So yeah, that would definitely cause a person to have palpitations. So you see what I'm saying? Like, this show, and and I don't want to give too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a twist. There's a twist, a twist and a twist, and it involves because there was a scene in the show where Joyce landed in jail, because I think how did she end up in jail? Oh, I think because when she found out that Lindani was messing with her husband, she took the belt and whooped her. She gave her an old-fashioned belt whooping. And so I guess it left scars, and then Lindani's mother, I guess, called the police on her, and saying to arrest her, because she assaulted her daughter, and Joyce was like, okay, yes, I will do it again, because she was messing with my husband, because she discovered her husband giving this young girl a bath, all naked in the bathtub, and they were in the bath together because Joyce and the other two children were supposed to be going on. They're supposed to be traveling somewhere, and I think they came back for something, and that's when Joyce discovered Jonas in the bath, giving her a bath, giving Donnie a bath in the bathtub and stuff. So that's when she found out that they were messing around with each other, and that's when she gave her that belt whooping. And so she ended up in jail. And when she was in jail, she met this woman, and she was telling her story. I think she was a streetwalker, but she was telling her story about how her husband was cheating on her, and she had gotten the 3 letters. Okay, she contracted the 3 letters, and so we got that scene. All right, and keep that woman in mind, that woman that she met in jail, because it's really prominent to how Joyce got back at him at the end, like, because he, like, it's been, it seemed like everyone got an STD. Matipa ended up getting the gono, and I think that did Joyce get it? Did Joyce contracted the gono as well? So I mean, he was just infecting people with STDs and STIs, and of course he didn't get himself checked out because he think he's the man, and so he's so invincible, right? And so at some point, he still think he's living his best life with LaDonnie. LaDonnie's just, she's just don't give a care in the world. She's just, doing what she's doing, and not really caring much about. Well, to an extent to where she's just benefiting from the lifestyle that he was able to give her. So it's just, it's so much going on, you guys. And I'm giving you a condensed version of 22 episodes. All right. So that's why I'm trying. I know that it's confusing to you guys, but I hope it's interesting enough to where you're able to check it out. But I'm condensing this, I'm giving you a condensed version of a 22 episode series, right? So, and actually the second season is coming up tomorrow. So, so I want to make sure that you're at least caught up somehow. Hopefully you binge watch it. When you watch this video, you can binge watch it. So, anywho. So, not only was Jonas was a womanizer, but he was also like very narcissistic, abusive. He actually assaulted his wife Joyce. He also assaulted Matipa when they would go back and forth with each other. Like, he's such a mass manipulator. They would, it's like he would go in between, like run back and forth between all these women. And mind you, he was still messing with Essie as well. Essie was still in the sidelines all these years. She was still in the back burner, and he was abusive towards these women, to the point where it seemed like Matipa just had like a mental break, and so she asked Joyce to care for her children. Like, I think she left a letter, and the twins were, I don't think the twins were toddlers yet. I don't know if the twins were still infants, and she just decided to just kind of go away from, and not get away from it all. She asked Joyce to care for the children, for the twins, and Jonas, he couldn't care less because he was still living under the same roof with Donnie. They were supposed to be together, but come to find out, I forgot to tell you also. Matipa initially was supposed to be dating Jonas's brother. They were supposed to be together, but she basically got with Jonas's brother to get with Jonas. So it's like the grass wasn't green at all. It wasn't greener at all. So that's another thing too. I wanted to insert that real quick. But okay, going back into at some point, Jonas, because he was caught, he had this bad, he developed a cough for several weeks, and so he went to see the doctor. Come to find out, he developed, he contracted those 3 letters. Do you know how he contracted those 3 letters, ladies and gentlemen? From that same woman, same woman that Joyce met in prison. You know how? Because when Jonas was sick, Jonas was like, when the 3 letters starting to take an effect on him, his health was starting to decline, and there were still people around him that were still willing to take care of him, even though he done so much damage and hurt towards all these people around and within this community, but they were still willing to take care of him because Adani wasn't trying to hear it. One time he defecated on himself, and she just took him in the shower and just was and just hosed him down, and that was it. Like she couldn't be bothered. So he ended up back in the house with Joyce while Joyce was tending to him. And so one night, the Jonas had asked Joyce to lay with him, to lay with him, until they went to sleep or something like that. And so he flashed a little bit forward, right, to when, he flashed forward a little bit, and she actually admitted that, on his deathbed, that the Jonas contracting the 3 letters was orchestrated by her, and she paid that woman in prison, that woman that she met in jail, that contracted it, that streetwalk I was talking about. She paid that woman to expose him, to affect him with it. So that was, so just when you thought that, Joyce was such a doormat and was just, so determined to just overlook everything or move past everything he's done to her, I guess she felt like she got vengeance at the end. But did she really? Because it's like he spent this life just being such a horrible human being overall to so many people around him, and I'm just like, how does this person have the power to do these things? You know why? Because he was allowed to. Because he could, you guys. I'm just trying not to give you too much, but I don't want to give you too much, but that's just the gist of it. That's the gist of the first season of The Polygamist. And also keep in mind also that Menzie gets back at Ladani as well, but you see why. You see what I was saying that. And so also be mindful of how the series, the opening credits of the series consist of a fish and a bird, right? And that's metaphoric because of the purpose of that metaphoric symbol of the fish and the bird is because a fish and a bird they're not able to adapt in the same environment together, because a fish has to swim and a bird has to fly on land. So neither one of them can adjust to the same environment. So you have a couple that's incompatible, and they try to sacrifice what they're used to, or sacrifice, what their standards are. If certain things are not in alignment with that other person, they're not able to mesh well together. That's my point of that. The opening credits in the beginning of The Fish and the Bird. So I'm just trying to give out. I'm trying to give out a little bit of. I'm gonna give you a little bit of what I want to say. Give you a little bit of wisdom there. Something like that. But if you have Netflix, or if you know someone have access to Netflix and you're able to get to watch that series, this first series, the first season, 22 episodes, and then the second season, it actually airs tomorrow. So I'm not sure how long that series has been on Netflix. It's a Netflix original series, so I'm not sure how long it's been playing prior to my having knowledge of it, because obviously it's been popping, and I know about it because, like I said, right after I binge watched that first season, I've been getting all kind of posts of promotional posts, and getting posts from different all of the actors that played in the series, and yeah. So watch that series, y'all. So I didn't think I was really going to get much into it because, like I said, but I'm like, oh yeah. But I'm like I said, you're going to really, you know, when you really look at how Jonas be moving, you're gonna understand why I suggest you get like a cross some holy water. Because every time I would sit there, I'm like, this. I mean, when he does something like really like foul, I'm like, this dude has no soul. Like this dude just, I mean, I thought I was wondering where the pea suit was because this dude, I mean, it had no remorse. That's the thing. He had no remorse. He had no type of. He did not care who he hurt at all. Even when he was sick, he was still an asshole. Like I'm just like this. But yeah, but I believe it's actually loosely based on a actual real life person. I'm just like, damn. And this dude. I gotta get more into his story. You know, I think his name is Balthazar, the person that the Jonas character is based on. I'm like, this is based on a real life person. I'm like, you ain't get your ass kicked. You ain't did you? I mean, did you get shot at all? Like, you ain't get shot or you ain't get no one kicked your ass at all. I'm like, you was able to get away with all this so long and you lived to tell about it. But this actually also give a little bit of history. Also, this is actually based on a novel by a woman who actually this was actually a book that was written like in 2012. She published it. She self-published because she said that her book was rejected by many of the major publications. So she decided to self-publish. And so like 12 years later, whoop, there it is. You know, she her book has become one of the top Netflix series, you know. So that goes to show you never give up on your journey, whatever your journey is. Remain steadfast in it. So shout out to that author of the book, The Polygamist. I don't know her name, but I'm sure if you do a search on the Polygamist novel, I'm sure that you no, I'm just looking at this person. If you look up the Polygamist novel, I'm sure that you Google search it, it will come up. But yeah, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of backstory, because I thought about reviewing it, but I'm like, you see how hard it was for me to piece that all together. I don't know, and just reliving some of those things that Jonas was doing. I think I'm gonna have. I tell you, you're gonna need some prayer, Hail Mary, holy water, cross, rosaries, whatever it is, whatever spiritual time you're on, you're gonna have to kind of lay that on me, because with that Jonas had me hot, but the woman pissed me off even more, because the fact that they were, these are some beautiful, successful women in their own right, and they were still like subject to this one man. I mean, just one man. Like they didn't know, like it just seemed like they, like a lot of women, in not just in the African culture, but in, different walks of life, don't understand their total worth to the point where they're willing to sacrifice their dignity for a man, and especially with a man with wealth, financial security. But that goes to show you, I understand that, it's part of the African culture, so that's why Joyce agreed to allow the side chick to be another wife. I meant to mention that too, that Matipa was Jonas's third wife, by the way. And so Joyce agreed to, to just allow her to be another wife. And they all just lived in the same household at some point. And, yeah, so it's just, yeah, I tell you, it's just really complex. It's just all crazy. But, yeah. But that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I just wanted to kind of just put that out there. I'm going to get on this train, like I said, I just thought I'd just, talk to y'all for a little bit. And I hope that I see you guys over tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be interviewing with filmmaker and author India Williams. Make sure you're in the building for that. I would appreciate the support. And in the meantime, have a good one.